Hello and welcome back to Medium Rare. My name is Rag Reynolds and today we have 3 stories to talk about. But before we get into those, I would like to encourage you to check out my Twitter, check out my Instagram, and feel free to check out my Patreon. Checking out these links in the description down below does help support the channel. But without further ado, let's just jump right into the first story. So our first story today is about the Hong Kong election, and oh boy, they did it! The protests that have been going on for months and months have finally paid off. If you are not aware, earlier this year there were protests that started in Hong Kong, all in response to an extradition bill in Hong Kong that would allow Beijing to extradite prisoners and people who have committed criminal offences out of Hong Kong and into Beijing. For full details on all of that, I do suggest you go watch my previous videos on this situation. Another big part of these protests was down to police brutality, because while these protesters were protesting the extradition bill, the police were caught on camera many times using excessive force, beating up protesters. Some people were seriously hurt. But anyway, just this weekend, the Hong Kong elections took place and 71% of the population voted. Now that is a huge number. I mean, you go back to 2015 and only 47% of the population voted. So that is a 24% increase in the number of people who voted. That's a quarter of the country who previously hadn't voted that now decided they wanted to vote. And the biggest takeaway here is that the establishment, the presiding government, did not win. Hong Kong's opposition pro-democracy movement has made unprecedented gains in the Chinese territory's district council elections. 17 of the 18 councils are now controlled by pro-democracy councillors. The government and Beijing had been hoping the election would bring a show of support from the so-called silent majority, but that did not materialise. Instead, some significant pro-Beijing candidates lost council seats. One controversial pro-Beijing lawmaker who lost his seat, Junius Ho, said, "Heaven and earth have been turned upside down." These little elections are normally not such a big deal. These are just like little council elections. Normally people don't care about them that much. But after all these protests in Hong Kong and all the other stuff that's been going on, people were seeing this sort of as like a referendum of sorts on the Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam. And it really does seem now that the people have made their voices heard and they've had enough. They do not support the actions of Beijing. They want to be free. They want a proper democracy. And just to clarify, this was a record number of votes, a record 4.1 million people registered to vote in these elections. And the final thing to note is that this past weekend is actually the first weekend in months that there haven't been any clashes between Hong Kong protesters and the police. So to wrap up this story, it really does seem like all these protests have been paying off. These protests in Hong Kong really seem to have done wonders for their country. And honestly, I feel very happy for a lot of these people. They have struggled, they have fought for something that was very, very important to them. Some of these things that they were fighting for are things that we in the West take for granted. But yeah, it's just really nice to see something good happen in the world, especially after all the effort and time that was put in by these protesters. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you're feeling about all this Hong Kong stuff in those comments down below. And now the next thing we're talking about today is Elon Musk, Tesla, and the Cybertruck. Now, if you're not aware of this quite amused me. So, Tesla and Elon Musk decided, we are announcing our new vehicle. We are doing this big show, we're bringing this truck out onto the stage. This is what the truck looked like. It is insane. It's like something out of Blade Runner or something. That was kind of the look they were going for. It does look quite strange. I mean, I actually quite like it. I think it looks so different, so unique to any other car like I've ever seen. So I personally think it's a great looking vehicle. But then again, I just like weird things. There have also been a lot of people making fun of this, making some memes about it, saying this looks like a truck you would drive in a PlayStation 1 game from 20 years ago and all this other sort of stuff. Anyway, all that aside, the truck came out on stage and they were boasting that the truck is supposed to be dent-proof. It's supposed to be unbreakable or something. So they hit the side of the door with a sledgehammer and it held up fairly well. But then they threw a metal ball at one of the windows.
Sure? Yeah. Oh my God. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
And the window broke. So they threw another one.
Try that one, really? Okay. Sure.
And the other window broke. And Elon Musk was not happy. He was shocked. He did not expect that to happen. He said they would fix it in post, but this has been seen as a huge fail, a huge disaster of a launch for this product. I mean, this was seen so badly that Elon Musk's net worth actually dropped over $700 million after this event. But considering the number of billions that he is worth, I don't think it was that big of a deal to him. It's also worth noting that the Tesla Cybertruck has actually still surpassed over 200,000 pre-orders despite this fail of a launch. And Elon Musk has also made it clear that they've achieved this number of pre-orders without any paid endorsements and without any advertising. Anyway, I'm quite sure that by the time the product actually launches, any sort of design faults like the windows breaking or whatever, they should be fixed. Elon Musk claims that prior to the actual presentation that was given, they had tested it and thrown things at the windows, and apparently there was not a single scratch on them, so he was quite confused as to what had happened there. But anyway, I do believe that they will have that all fixed by the time it does launch. Although I'm not so sure why it's even necessary that someone can throw a metal ball at your window and it doesn't need to break. I mean, who's throwing metal balls at your windows? Is this like the perfect truck for someone who's widely hated or something? Is this just like a bulletproof truck for your everyday person? Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this in those comments down below. And the final thing we're talking about today is Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson collaboration. The palette they released, the conspiracy palette. Well, there has been some controversy here. If you are not aware, Shane Dawson recently did a big series with Jeffree Star in multiple parts, and in this series they were looking into sort of the beauty world and the whole process around creating makeup products, and in the end it turned out that Shane Dawson was collaborating with Jeffree Star, and it turned out that this series was essentially an advertisement for Shane Dawson's makeup palette. And this palette is called the Conspiracy Palette. Now this palette recently just launched, the fans were eager to get it, lots and lots of people bought these things, but not without hiccup. If you remember back months ago, there was the Jaclyn Hill lipstick controversy where she had launched her new lipstick line, and in these lipsticks people were finding hairs, they were finding little bits of plastic, they were finding all sorts of gross things in there. Well, we have seen something, what people are saying is a little bit similar to that here with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson's collaboration. You can see in numerous pictures and videos posted all over social media such as these that you're seeing on screen now, people are finding hairs in their palettes. People do seem in large to be quite grossed out, although I would say no one seemed to have been as upset as they were back at the Jaclyn Hill fiasco. I do think though that the Jaclyn Hill thing did seem to be much worse. I mean, no one's getting big huge clumps of plastic and all that sort of thing in these. It's mainly just little bits of hair in these palettes, so I do think there's a little bit of a difference. Anyway, Jeffree Star came out with an explanation, said he was being completely upfront. One of the main points he made in his statement was that there have been 1.1 million of these palettes created, and they have only received 35 complaints. So when you do look at these numbers, like the 35 in comparison to the 1.1 million, that is such a small number that it's kind of non-existent. However, my argument there would be that number should be 0. There should be no issue with this. I mean, it doesn't matter if there was 1, it doesn't matter if there's 100, it doesn't matter if there's 1,000. There should be 0 issues with this, especially when this is a premium product that people are paying for. This should be quality checked, all the rest of it. Anyway, I'll just read you Jeffree Star's statement that he put on Twitter. Hey everyone, it's come to our attention that a few dozen people out of 1.1 million palettes produced have a few ribbon fibers embedded in their products. The lab has done a full investigation and we found the issue. I pride myself on quality and fully apologize for this error. He attached a letter to this post that says, Dear Jeffree Star and team, RE pressing ribbon fibers found in pressed powder. We concluded our investigation. The source of the fibers are from the ribbon sheets that were pressed into the product. We have implemented multiple controls along the process to mitigate this and prevent it from happening in the future. 1. Conduct an awareness meeting with all employees regarding the seriousness of this issue. 2. Eliminate the use of scissor cut ribbon for all pressed powders. 3. Add backlight to our inspection protocol to see fibres not visible with the naked eye. 4. Discuss with our Italian ribbon sources if they can seal the edges of their ribbon. The process by which cosmetic powders are made into their final products requires the use of some pressing ribbon that is placed between the product and the metal pressing tools. This ribbon not only allows the tool to press the powders into the pans, but also has a great impact on the texture and performance of the products. Each shade contains different types and amounts of pigment, shimmers and pearls in the formulas, which impact how the ribbon and product interact and thus the look and the performance of the products. By using various combinations of ribbon materials, we can achieve the desired texture and finish on all of the shades and formulas. Pressing ribbons are made of 100% cotton, nylon or synthetic polyester fibers that are smooth, soft, inert, non-toxic, lightweight with high resilience. For this palette we use multiple combinations of these pressing ribbons to achieve the beauty and performance of the product. Some of these ribbons come in sheet form while others are cut with scissors to fit specific needs. Please know we are taking immediate measures to prevent this issue. And along with this, Jeffree Star did post some videos on his Snapchat or Instagram story where he showed the process of the ribbons being pressed down. Anyway, in the end, it does seem that most people are quite happy with Jeffree Star's explanation here. I mean, I must say it's definitely much better and more clear and concise than Jaclyn Hill's explanation was months ago when that fiasco was taking place. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with that story, so make sure to let me know what you think about it in those comments down below. And that's where I'm going to end today's video. So please, as usual, make sure to let me know what you thought about any and all of today's stories in those comments down below. Make sure to leave a like on this video. Make sure to hit subscribe and turn on those notifications if you haven't already. And last but not least, make sure to check out all of the links in the description down below. And until next time, my name is Rag Reynolds, and this was Medium Rare.